This is your daily dose of all things royal.
And I'm so excited to see Meghan. For those of you who don't know her, she's one of the loveliest young women that I've met. And ever since the first time that we got to know each other during the pandemic, I've hit it off with her and with the Duke. And when she said she was coming to Nigeria, in fact, I told her, if you ever want to come to Nigeria, let me know. So when she called me a couple of months ago to say she's coming, I said, we have to make sure you have a good time. So that's the first. Everybody knows I love this country in spite of all its difficulties so much. So I wanted the visit to be a wonderful one. The next thing is the fact that all of you who are amazing women, very busy, have found the time and ability to come here today. And I'm looking across the room, Meghan. The women you see here are tops. Busy people, and I'm really, really grateful that they took the time to leave what they're doing and come here to be with us today. So I just wanted to say a personal word of thanks to each and every one of you for taking that trouble to be here. We don't take it for granted. So that is all I wanted to say. And with that, I'm going to hand back to the one and only Mo.
Welcome back, my gorgeous, good-looking friends. Happy Mother's Day to all those wonderful mothers, except Meghan Markle. Yes, you just heard the head of the WTO say those wonderful things about Meghan Markle. My guess is that Meghan has been buttering up to this woman and kept her in her Rolodex because she knew that at some point she was going to be useful to her. So, of course, this woman has nothing but praises for this scam artist. We all know that Meghan and Harry, as well as Archewell Public Fugazi Charity, we all know by now that Meghan and Harry and their Fugazi Public Charity is nothing but a scam. Just like this Women in Leadership Nigeria, that they want the world to think that Archewell is this power player in putting together this wonderful event for these entrepreneurial ladies. Let me break it down for you on how the optics look versus what is the reality. So, Meghan and Harry, or at least Meghan, wants her name up in lights, and she wants people to think that she is this powerful woman in leadership running this foundation and essentially wants the optics to show, look, my name is up there right next to the Director General of the World Trade Organization. But folks, you do realize that Meghan was invited as a guest. She wasn't co-hosting and was not responsible for putting this show on. In fact, it was Mo Abudu. As you can see, Archewell has her up as the moderator, but she is responsible for being there and putting together this show. Her way of giving back to the community was to get this talk together and did mention that First Bank was the sponsor.
Out there. Now, I'm doing this show, which is just one show, and the show can only be sponsored by First Bank. Falake, thank you very much. They're sponsoring the show, but it's only one of so many things that we can do to showcase other Black women doing amazing things.
And of course, Meghan says nothing. She looks a little bit uncomfortable, chuckles it off, and she continues speaking. But what's really gross about this is that in all the marketing that was done by Archewell, nowhere does it give any announcement that First Bank is the one behind all of the funding for this, because normally when First Bank is being stated as the sponsor, it means that they put money to this event. And as you can see here, Archewell, or Meghan, didn't want anyone to see that there was somebody else who was actually putting on this show. So, of course, they go ahead and put Archewell up in lights, but nowhere in any of the marketing do they give credit to First Bank for putting up the money for doing it. That's what sponsorship does. It doesn't say Archewell put the show on. No, it's just Meghan standing up there in lights when she really was just invited as a guest. As it says here by someone who attended it, she posts, "It was an empowering evening yesterday, being in the company of exceptional women who have excelled in their fields. The Women in Leadership Night, hosted by Dr. Ngozi, with special guests Duchess of Sussex, Meghan Markle, and moderated by Mo Abudu, provided a platform for women to engage in meaningful conversations and inspire one another. Like, I'm just floored at watching how many Nigerians fell for this sham. And when you listen to Megan's response after being asked, like, what can women do, especially Nigerian women can do in order to, help be a role model for the future generation, this is what Megan responds with.
But how do we ensure that the next generation of women coming have role models to be able to look to?
Well, as we know, representation matters tremendously. You need to see it to believe it. That starts when you're very young.
Can you believe this asshole stole this from the Queen? Yeah, she did that. And on top of it, asking people on this tour to call her ma'am. Meghan now proceeds to give her answer, and it's so shallow and lacks any kind of value for giving advice to this audience. Take a listen.
I think a large part of that as well, though, is just as Ngozi was saying, coming back home to Nigeria feels so important to her. It's where it feels settling, anchoring, and you love it here. And I often find that in whatever travels I've done, regardless of if it's Nigeria or another country around the world, oftentimes when women reach the peak of success, they leave.
So if we go by this logic, Meghan's peak of success was marrying into the British royal family, locking down a dumb prince, and bringing him back to California. Why didn't she bring him back to Nigeria if Nigeria is so-called her home?
But you need to come back home. You need to at least be a familiar face for the next generation to say, oh, she looks like me, and I can be that.
Be like what, Meghan? When people look at you, they don't see you as a role model. They see you as a gold-digging, cloud-chasing fame whore. I don't think anybody looks to you and says, oh, I want to be that. And if they did, how unrealistic it would be to say, oh, I want to be a princess in the United States. You think girls want to look up to a mean girl and bully, someone who only thinks about themselves and purposely causes drama wherever she goes?
And I think that is a really key piece in all of it, where success isn't defined by, oh, you've gotten out, you've gone somewhere else. It's defined by, and you still always want to come back home, because that's how you're going to help shift any sort of generational pattern that might be stifling, especially for young girls who need to see someone who looks like them.
This woman is so ignorant. She truly expects people to stare at her all day thinking that that's enough. Just because you look like every other girl in California doesn't mean people want to be you. Right now, there's nothing enviable of Meghan Markle. And she really does think that if she came back to California and young girls look at her, they dream to aspire to be some wealthy housewife. In this situation, Meghan truly does sound uneducated and low class, in my humble opinion.
Position of
I
power.
don't want to interrupt you, but you have come back home.
Well, then I hope that I could do justice to the role model that I think so many young women deserve to have.
Considering Nigeria is one of the most corrupted countries in the world, perhaps maybe Meghan is telling the truth when she says that she is home. Perhaps maybe Meghan needs to just stay right there in Nigeria and be the role model that she believes she could be.
Obviously, in the face of all of you here, I know that they see that, but being able to be a small part of that means a lot.
But what has she done aside from trash the very institution that gave her the platform in the first place? Absolutely no value being given to this audience, aside from saying, oh, come back home so they can see your face and look up to you. That's what I get out of this response. It doesn't tell me that she's committing, investing time to foster and nurture the next generation so they can be successful. Where did 40 by 40 go? Nowhere. She's not doing what the moderator said that she has done, such as set up and get these women together so they can, brainstorm on ideas. Nothing. This woman thinks that she can just show up and go back to California and people want to be her. I guess as long as you have money and you have status, you'll be able to have whatever platform you want. Like, it blows my mind that you have these very successful entrepreneurial women in the room and they don't see through or past the bullshit that Meghan is spewing. Like, how could you not see that this woman has zero value that she's giving back to the community, especially after all that she has done that's been so malicious to other people. Why would you want to look up to that? Like, what value does Meghan offer to society except division and chaos? That's what I don't get. And then you have the WTO saying all these wonderful things about her. It makes you wonder. It makes you wonder if this is part of the game and this is part of the messaging, or are they really that disconnected from the truth? Now, for many of us who follow the royals and have followed this saga of Meghan and Harry, the last 72 hours probably were highly irritating, especially watching Meghan and Harry pretend that they are royal still and being addressed as such. On the surface, just looking over the last 72 hours, for the most part, the reception has been somewhat positive, at least from hosting Meghan and Harry. I do think that prior to these two arriving to Nigeria, I think the consensus was believing the propaganda that Meghan and Harry had pushed out. We have to realize that there's still people out there who don't follow this saga, who still believe in the mainstream media and believe what is being put out there. So I think from this perspective, the director of the World Trade Organization most likely didn't delve into the manipulation as well as the lies that Meghan have told. I think she truly does see Meghan as this kind, empathetic Black girl who now has Nigerian roots without seeing how she did manipulate being Maltese in order to get a free trip and abuse that resource. Now, I think in this situation, I don't think they realize that Meghan has used and abused her Nigerian heritage in order to get on a global stage and make it look like she is a world leader. The other thing I want to bring up is how easy it is for Meghan to tell stories. And when I say tell stories, make shit up. By now, we all know that Meghan is a control freak, and it's most likely that these questions were given to the moderator ahead of time.
Now, you found out recently that you are partly Nigerian.
Meghan announced to the world that she was 43% Nigerian 2 years ago on Archetypes. I wouldn't call that recently.
I did, yes.
So when you made this discovery, knowing Nigeria for what it is, I love Nigeria, please, don't let's get it wrong. So we do love our country. How did you feel about finding out that you were Nigerian? And did it give you a second sense of thinking about who you were as a person and what representation might mean to be a Nigerian?
Let's keep the question in focus. She's asking Meghan when she found out 2 years ago that she was 43% Nigerian, did she have a second perspective about herself and what that meant for representation? Asking her to reflect in that moment of when she found out, what was her new perspective? If it changed or if it didn't change, like how did she see herself now learning this new information? So what Meghan does, as she always does, from answering any question, is deflect.
Well, firstly, thank you all so much for being here. I'm just flattered and honored and inspired. It has been a whirlwind 24 hours since we arrived, and I've very quickly gotten the memo that I need to wear more color so I can fit in with all of you in your incredible fashion. So I'm very overwhelmed. So I want to start by saying thank you very much for just how gracious you've all been in welcoming my husband.
And I to this country, my country.
Your country, yes.
When I had done the genealogy and found out about my heritage, the first thing I did obviously was call my mom because I wanted to know if she had any awareness of it. And I think being African American, part of it is really not knowing so much about your lineage, your background, where you come from specifically. And it was exciting for both of us to discover more and understand what that really means.
So up to now, Meghan has yet to answer this question, and even more dumbfounding is telling this story about Doria not knowing what she was. So if Meghan is 43% Nigerian, there would be some type of heritage that would be seen in Meghan, whether it be the foods that she ate, whether it be the clothes that she wore, especially like if she was part of a tribe or descendant from a tribe. And maybe that's what the genealogy test said. Probably came back saying that she had ethnic origins in Nigeria.
Never in a million years would I understand it as much as I do now.
But here's the thing, Meghan has yet to tell us what she understood being Nigerian meant in the first place when she found out.
Being here, right?
Being here. And what has been echoed so much, really, in the past day by men and women alike is, oh, we weren't surprised when we found out when you were a Nigerian. Oh, no, no, no. And I say that mostly as a compliment to all of you, because what they define as a Nigerian woman is brave, resilient, courageous, powerful, beautiful. And every single moment that I hear anyone so far talk about what it means to be a Nigerian woman, it is the most flattering thing to be in that company, to be in your company.
You do realize that all Meghan is doing is complimenting herself. What it means to be Nigerian, brave, strong, powerful. Like, this is all the things that she tells herself every single day in front of the mirror. I could be Nigerian. You could be Nigerian. We all could be Nigerian. I mean, if we go by this, you see, Meghan didn't answer the question. And it's interesting that at the time when she said she was 43% Nigerian, she said, oh, I can't wait to get into learning more about it. Well, it's 2 years later, and you still have no answer to that.
So, yes, it's been really eye-opening and humbling to be able to know more about my heritage and to be able to know this is just the beginning of that discovery.
This woman is a liar and a fraud. When she said that she found out that she was 43% Nigerian and was going to dig more into it, it clearly shows she has done zero work on investigating her roots. Because you would talk about, oh, the food and the cuisine, as well as family life, traditions, customs, none of that. There are no pictures of her eating any of the traditional cuisine. So Meghan is full of shit, in my humble opinion. And I don't understand why none of these strong Black women challenged Meghan on this. They want good role models to represent Nigeria. And here you have someone who doesn't embrace the culture, who has disrespected everywhere she's gone in the way that she dressed. Let's not talk about the family situation, but Nigeria is very centered around family and religion. And they don't see that this woman represents none of that. I just struggle to understand why she was put on a pedestal here and given a platform to not even offer anything valuable to the women in that room. It was just a waste of time, in my humble opinion. Meghan's mole summarized it brilliantly, where she said, this fake Nigerian tour has only proven to the world Harry, and especially Meghan, miss being a part of the royal family. Agreed 1000%. Despite Meghan and Harry calling them all racist, claiming the Commonwealth is Empire 2.0, Harry and Meghan never wanted privacy. Meghan wanted to do royal tours dressed like a $2 whore while preaching about being an independent woman, all while stoking racial tensions and divide. It's always about Meghan. That's right. Couldn't have said it better. Thanks, Meghan's mole. In watching the last 72 hours of this Nigerian vacation play out, you've come to realize that there's something just not right with both Meghan and Harry. There's something very dark about these two and what they have been doing and are continuing to do, because I guarantee there's more Commonwealth countries that Meghan and Harry most likely have on their list to visit. Now, from what I'm gathering, this so-called vacation is not going down too well with the Nigerian natives.
If Harry visits Nigeria today or tomorrow, what effect does it have in our economy? Harry is coming and Nigeria is going to spend billions. Look, Nigerians are dying. Everybody is frustrated over economic hardship, and Prince Harry is coming all the way from British Dynasty to visit Nigeria. See, let me tell you, if you seek my own opinion and other people's opinion, in fact, conduct opinion poll, is a wasting of resources.
That Nigerian has said it best. Like, what was the whole point of this vacation? What was the whole point of money being spent on two people who are no longer working royals, who didn't want to do this important work in the first place, but now wanting to show that they're doing it? But we all know that it's not being done for free. We all know that they are lining their pockets as they exploit people that they should be helping. I think that's the most disgusting thing about all of this. They went to a country to where there is quite a lot of abuses going on, kidnappings, women who are being persecuted, abused, raped. Meghan says nothing, but instead she hangs out with the wealthy Nigerians to put on this facade that, oh, she is so high society and aristocratic. I can't even tell you how trashy I think Meghan is now. She is definitely in the gutter at this moment. And the fact that she keeps pushing herself onto people, I think for the most part, Nigeria is going to figure it out when they get Markled. In fact, I think they've already been Markled because they actually went to this country and nothing was given back in return. And I find it sad. I find it sad that this middle-aged woman who, pretty much lied to the world that she was Nigerian is taking advantage of the kindness and the hospitality, not even thinking to reciprocate by showing just even a small amount of decency and respect for the people.
To me, it's not a welcome idea. That's the truth. Whether the wife claims that she's part of Nigeria or not, it's not a welcome idea because Nigeria is not a safe place. So I don't really see any big deal about this coming. That's the truth. Let me tell you, there's hunger in the land. So him coming, we are not even feeling it.
May I announce the arrival of our special guest, His Royal Highness, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex.
Yep, you heard correctly. That was Harry being addressed as His Royal Highness, and I don't think that that was on accident. I would be willing to bet that it was Harry who has demanded that the Nigerians address him as such, because it's not only this instance where this happened again with the military. And at no point did Harry put his foot down. I think Charles truly does need to do something here. Otherwise, these two are going to keep. See, the issue that we have here is that this family drama is public business because these two are running around like self entitled idiots, acting like dignitaries on a global stage. This becomes very dangerous when the perception is Harry's still tied to the crown and having some type of influence and pull in society, in shaping society in this Marxist socialist way. And finally, the last point that I would like to make in this whole video is I don't think King Charles is going to do a thing. I don't think he's going to strip their titles. I don't think he's going to remove those two invisible children from the line of succession. And I do think he's going to allow this to continue on, just thinking that maybe they will fail on their own. What concerns me is that they will continue to leave a path of destruction. And it worries me for William and Catherine. The only way that this is going to stop, and I've said this before, is one, either they run out of money, or two, one or both are either locked up in jail or in an institution. I think Meghan should be in jail based on all the financials and what they are doing with Archewell Fugazi Public Charity. I also think that Prince Harry needs to be kicked out of this country because he is a threat to our government by undermining our Constitution. Why people are not making more noise about this is beyond me, but these two, even though they're idiots all the way around, they're still a threat to society. Meghan and Harry are predators. They prey on the youth and they prey on the less fortunate and vulnerable. Look at all their charities. Look at what they're targeting. All I can do is keep speaking out about it because I know that they don't want us to speak out about it, and that's why they want us censored. So I ask you, kindly like this video so it can be shared everywhere so people can see that they are nobodies and we shouldn't be giving them any more attention or time. But what do you guys think? Definitely leave your thoughts below. As always, I will be back with more content, but until then, please be safe and I'll talk to you later. Bye.
You're such a fraud.